Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so you've run into a bit of a snag with your Tauri project, right? Specifically this error popping up when you run Tauri dev.
Ah, yes. The additional properties are not allowed with Global Tauri was unexpected message, usually within the build section of tauri.conf.json.
Exactly that one.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to clear up what with Global Tauri actually is, where it's supposed to go, and get you pointed in the right direction depending on, well, which Tauri version you're using.
Right, because that tauri.conf.json file, it's basically the command center for your app. Think of it like that.
Yeah, controls everything, build stuff, security, the works.
And this error, it's basically the control panel flashing a warning light saying, hey, this switch with Global Tauri, it doesn't belong here in the build section. Not anymore anyway.
Okay, so let's dig in. What exactly is what Global Tauri is supposed to do? What's its job?
Good question. Simply put, it dictates whether the main Tauri JavaScript API, that's the window, Tauri object you might see in examples, is just, well, globally available in your front-end code.
So, like, everywhere, without importing anything special.
Precisely. If you set it to true, you get that direct line to native features file system access, calling your Rust backend commands, all that good stuff, right from anywhere in your JavaScript or TypeScript.
Okay, that sounds useful. So why the error? If it gives you this direct access, why is the build section suddenly saying unexpected?
Well, that's the crux of it, isn't it? It all comes down to how Tauri evolved, specifically the big jump between version 1 and version 2.
Okay.
See, back in Tauri v1, with Global Tauri was correctly placed inside the build section. So if you're maybe looking at older tutorials or, migrating an old v1 project, your config might actually look right based on that older context.
Okay, so it used to be there. It moved then in V2.
Exactly, it moved. In Tauri v2, the team reorganized things quite a bit for better clarity, I suppose. With Global Tauri got shifted out of build and into the app section of the config file.
The app section, got it.
Yeah. And you can actually see this if you dig around on GitHub. There are issues where people ran into this exact same error during the V1 to V2 migration. The official V2 docs also clearly show with Global Tauri sitting under app.
Okay, so if someone hits this error,
Yeah.
job number one is figuring out their Tauri version. How do they do that quickly?
Easiest way, just pop open the cargo.toml file. It's sitting there in your src Tauri directory. Look for the Tauri line under dependencies. The version number will be right there.
Right, cargo.toml in src-tari. Makes sense.
So let's say, hypothetically, they check and they are somehow still on V1. What then?
Well, if it really is V1, which honestly, the specific error makes that less likely, but if it is, you just double, triple check the spelling of with Global Tauri inside that build section. If it still errors out, maybe something else funky is going on in the config.
Okay. But the more probable scenario, given this unexpected property error, is that they're on V2, right?
Much more likely, yes. And if you're on V2, you've got basically two main options to fix this.
Option 1.
Option 1, you can still get that global access if you really want it. You just need to move the setting. Add with global Tauri.true to the app section of your tauri.conf.json. Remove it from build, put it in an app.
Okay, move it to app. But you mentioned earlier there's sort of a recommended way in V2.
Yes, absolutely. The more, let's say, idiomatic or modern approach in Tauri v2 is actually to not use the global. So you'd either set with global Tauri to false in the app section or just leave it out entirely.
Leave it out. So how do you access the Tauri API then?
You import what you need directly. Tauri v2 comes with the @tauriappsapi npm package. So instead of relying on a global window Tauri, you'd write something like import invoke from @tauriappsapitori or import platform from @tauriappsapios right in the JavaScript or TypeScript file where you need it.
I see. Explicit imports. Why is that better? What's the advantage?
Well, two main things. First, it makes your code clearer. You can see exactly where your Tauri dependencies are coming from. Second, and this is a big one for performance, it enables tree shaking.
Tree shaking. Like shaking the dead leaves off a tree.
Kind of. Your front-end bundler, think Webpack or Vite, can analyze those explicit imports and figure out which parts of the Tauri API you aren't using. Then it just removes that unused code from the final application bundle.
Oh, so your app potentially gets smaller and faster.
Yeah.
Because you're not shipping code you don't need.
Exactly. It leads to more optimized builds. So while the global works in V2 if you put it in the app section, the import-based approach is generally cleaner and potentially more performant.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So recapping the fix. Step one, definitely remove with Global Tauri from the build section. That's causing the immediate error.
Yep. Delete that line from build.
Step two, check your version in cargo.toml.
Crucial.
If it's V1, unlikely. Make sure spelling is right and build. If it's V2, likely, You decide. Either add with global Tory.true to the app section, or the recommended path, leave it out, or set to false, and start using imports, like import read text file from add Tauri app steppus.
Precisely. And maybe just give the whole file a quick once-over for typos in general. Bud instead of build, instead of app. Easy mistakes to make.
Good point. So, zooming out a bit, what does this tell us? This whole with global Tory journey.
It really shows how frameworks like Tauri aren't static,
Yeah.
They evolve. The configuration changes, like moving the setting, often reflect bigger ideas in this case, a push towards more modern, modular front-end practices. Keeping your config aligned with the docs for your specific version is just essential for avoiding these headaches.
It's not just about knowing what to type, but sort of understanding why things are structured the way they are in the version you're using.
Exactly. And this shift with Global Tori is a perfect example. It's guiding developers towards practices like explicit imports that have benefits like tree shaking and clearer code, which are good things for application health long term.
So the big takeaway. Always check the official Tory docs for the version you're actually running. That's your source of truth.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Beyond just fixing this specific error, think about how adopting those modular imports from @Tory AppSapi might change how you structure your front-end code more broadly. Could it make your Tory apps easier to manage or even faster down the line? Something to consider.